How you doing, everybody? John Arezzi's here on a very cold day here in Nashville, Tennessee. The weather's really bad outside. I just got back in to my place here in Tennessee, and something really cool happened today. And I'm going to be. I'm waiting for Greg Oliver to join me any minute here. On this special StreamYard. So let's see who's joining us here so far. Anyone yet? Any comments? But people are logging on. So yeah, a pretty special deal happened today. Hey, Richard, how you doing? Good to have you here. Hope everything is good over there in the UK. But as everybody knows, over the past since middle of 2019, I was fortunate enough hey, Rich, how you doing? To be blessed with an opportunity from ECW Press and Michael Holmes up in Canada to write my story. And I've had a really interesting, crazy life, working not only in the pro wrestling business, as most people know, but also in the country music business here in Nashville since 2000. TJ from Deer Park, yo, what's going on? And Brandon, how are you? Good to see everybody. Jared, a bunch of people are logging on. So yeah, it was an opportunity which I really never thought would happen, and Michael Holmes gave me the opportunity as long as I was working. Hey, John Flaherty. Jesse, Brandon, Thomas. Well, he gave me the opportunity. Lewis, Carlin. Everyone's coming on here. This is great. As long as I had somebody that really had some experience in the writing area to do the book with me. So after a couple of conversations, I had met Greg Oliver at the CAC, Cauliflower Alley Club in Las Vegas at the reunion. Met him, gave him a little pitch. We had a further discussion, and he said he'd work with me. So basically, that's how it happened. I'm going to bring Greg on here in a little bit. He has been busy himself. I just really reached out to him about 10 minutes ago. So that opportunity came to fruition. I signed the deal with ECW Press in the summer of 2019. And we started working on this book, and there were variations of it from me telling my story to Greg every day, and then putting together pages and pages and pages of manuscript. So the process has been a real interesting one for me. Getting to be able to share today some really special news, and I'm pretty excited about it. I'll be waiting for Greg here, so as soon as he logs on, I'll do the unveiling. I got a package in the mail today from Toronto, so I'm going to open it up with everybody here seeing it, and I am going to give everyone here the opportunity, obviously, to see this for the first time with me. So, but I hope everybody is doing well. Greg is now joining us. I'm going to bring him on right now. Greg Oliver. There. Hey, looking dapper there. How you doing, Greg?
Dapper, is that the right word?
Yeah, dapper. You look cool. You've been doing some TV stuff. I understand. You got a big book that's out right now.
Yeah, I did a TV spot this morning on CHCH, which is out of Hamilton, Ontario. It was done through Skype, of course, but it was cool to do it. It was talked about my latest book until yours comes out, which is called Who's the Man? Billy Van, about an old actor and comic and singer, dancer, and just a Canadian icon in many ways, and hugely underappreciated. So it was great to do a hit on the TV, and we'll go from there.
Very, very cool. Well, this all happened just within the last 15 to 20 minutes. I had went outside today and ventured to the post office to mail out all auction items from this week, and I got a notification that I had a package delivered. and picked up the package today, and here's the envelope right here, and it comes from Canada. So and it's a book. So I wanted to. If it's another book, I'm going to be really embarrassed. But
it might be.
I think it's the advance of Matt Memories, you know, and so I'm going to open it up, and then we'll talk a little bit about it, and all the fans out there. This could be the book. Let me see. Here's the wrapping.
Can I do a drum roll?
And here it is.
Hey!
There is the book. I'm getting cold chills, actually.
Well, it's the advanced reading copy. Let's be, because there's a little sticker on the front there that says advanced reading copy.
It says it on the back.
And the back end, there's a front. There's a logo on the front there that says advanced reading copy down bottom right.
Item. There it is. But,
yeah.
You know, the photographs, the stories are in here. Everything is here. So I am very, very excited about this moment. And it's a blessing. And it's been a blessing to work with you on this thing. And the official release date is April the 6th. So I wanted to thank you first and foremost.
My pleasure, John. It's neat. It doesn't get old. I will say that. I mean, that's book 17. And while I don't have my ARC yet, it doesn't get old. It's always a great feeling when you get the books in. In fact, that'll be the unboxing when you get the actual box. That'll be even more special because it's better binding, it's better paper. The pictures themselves will shine a bit more. All those things. So the ARC is meant for reviews. And I don't know if I should say anything here, but I did get a note from one of my pals who got an ARC already.
Let's see if
I can find it here. So he's already read it and sent me a note. What did he say? Just finished reading your upcoming book with John Arezzi, and wow, wonderful. I will be posting review closer to the release date because the publisher asked them to hold it a little bit. And then he further went on and said that he's a country music fan. And I'm reading off a different screen. That's why I'm looking away here. And he was a country music fan in into early 2000s, and even something about Cindy Thompson, which was a last-minute addition. He said that was fascinating because he was a big fan of hers.
Yeah,
that's what I love about this book is I don't think you'll always know what you're going to be surprised by. Right? Somebody might be a big, New Kids on the Block fan and realize what Arezzi almost worked with them.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of people have no idea. And here's like an unveiling of the Hornsteins from WNYG. There they are. No, I mean, I think that's why, and there's a lot of questions coming in, and I'll answer them. I'll have a conversation with Greg, and then I'll answer some of your questions here and comments. There's some funny comments coming in about a number of things. But when I met you in Vegas,
yeah.
I had a couple of conversations with Michael Holmes when I pitched him the idea of the book, and he said, you really need somebody with some expertise to work with you. And he mentioned a couple of names to me, and you were one of them. And I had the opportunity to meet you at CAC, and we struck up a conversation, and you basically said you really weren't interested in another wrestling book. You've done plenty of them. You've done many wrestling books. And then when we had a follow-up conversation, when I returned to Tennessee and I kind of told you my story, that's what kind of drew you in a little bit. So,
that's a good way to put it, John. Your stories,
yeah.
It's definitely not the wrestling that's intriguing. I mean, the wrestling stuff was neat, but it's everything else. It's all the country music. It was the baseball, those kind of things. And it's not just the pro wrestling either, right? It's the promoting aspects. It's the radio. It's like learning about the Hornsteins, right? That kind of stuff's really neat.
Yeah. And then you came to Nashville with Bob Kapoor to do a little research. And we had a nice trip here, and we did some. You met with one of the artists I managed, Sarah Darling, and you got together with her and talked a little bit about the story. Take you to the Grand Ole Opry, and so it was a process that over the course of many months, me talking to you every day and telling you these stories, and then you sending me the chapters back and us going back and forth, it was an experience for me that I really appreciated, because as a first-time author, being able to work with somebody of your caliber and with all the experience that you've had, and the fact that you never really, you were pretty straight shooter through the whole process. If you don't like something, you don't like it. So you almost became my psychologist in a lot of ways. But
Lord help me, yes. Okay.
But we developed a cool friendship, and now we're doing some stuff with Slam Wrestling. But I'm really excited about this, and we're going to give the fans, the readers, people who are interested in getting signed copies of this thing, that opportunity. I'll be announcing it in the next couple of weeks or so, figuring out how we're going to do that. I'm doing my first personal appearance for a book signing out on Long Island at the Wrestling Universe in Comac on Saturday, April 3rd, and I'll be there with $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, and
You'll pronounce that one.
Thunder. So I'll be there with those two. They have nothing to do with the book, of course, but they'll be making an appearance there. And then I've been invited to do my first book signing there. So that's going to be kind of cool, especially in my hometown, really.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's little steps, right? You do one, you do another, you get invited somewhere else, you do a radio hit, you do a TV hit. It'll snowball a little bit. It's a lot of work, though, promoting.
Yes.
But, you'll get better at it, too.
Yeah, ECW Press has been really good, and I have another meeting with them on publicity on Monday, and we were able to get a Nashville publicist involved with the project as well, and he's going to help with the publicity here in this market. But it is a lot of work to get this thing and get the buzz happening and excited, and I really think that the fans who knew me from 30 years ago plus, and from my escapades in wrestling in the 70s, from Freddie Blassie and starting the fan club to ringside photography to getting in the ring for a couple of matches and then disappearing and then coming back in 1989 to launch Pro Wrestling Spotlight, and then all that followed after that, the wrestling conventions, the scandals, and then I got up and bringing Vince Russo into the business, and then I left unceremoniously in 1996 and disappeared for 22 years, almost 23 years. Now this is happening.
Life's unpredictable, man.
Yes, it is. But I'm very excited about this, and just opening it up in front of you and some of the closest friends that I have here. I call them friends, not fans. From around the world right now. It's a great moment for me. It's a very exciting moment and a memorable moment for me. So I want to thank you again, Greg.
Cool. My pleasure, John. Glad it's almost done. Almost time.
Almost time. But
we'll do this again when you get the box with all the books.
Do you want to hang out for a couple of questions here and see what some of these people are saying, or do you have to go out to dinner?
Yeah.
Well, Jared England, John Flaherty, Lewis Curlin, everyone's saying hello. Movie adaptation. What do you think?
Well, let's see. Dom DeLuise isn't live anymore. Who's going to play you? So
Dom DeLuise is dead. Yeah. So who would play me? That's a good question. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, I certainly think that I've done enough stuff, that, who knows what. Who knows how this is going to be? It could flop. It could not flop. It could do great. Is that George 316 in the book? George from Lindenhurst is mentioned in the book. And thank you, Bill. Appreciate that. Thank you, David. Thank you, Brandon.
Oh, it's a big love in.
It is a love in. Jesse Lawson. Can't wait to read the book. Can't wait for you to read the book. Looks great. Oh, yeah, Amazon has them there now. So that's very cool.
I think I've said before, John, like any bookstore will order you a book. If you go into your local bookstore or at the moment, under their COVID rules, whatever they are, if you ask them to order a book, they will, and maybe they'll get a couple more in stock, which is good for an author because you want to be in many places. You don't necessarily want to give every dollar to Amazon. But it's your personal choice. We're more important, buy the book.
Yeah, and ECW Press did a great job because, if you go to any of the Walmarts, the Barnes and Nobles, the distribution process and just seeing how they got the book everywhere for when it comes out. But yeah, sometimes you got to go into the bookstore and order it too. So I don't care where you get it from, and I certainly will be making some copies available that I'll be able to sign and number too. I'm going to do some signing numbers. Let's see. Bill Holtz. Did George Willinghurst write the forward? No, he did not. But Mick Foley wrote. There's 3 forwards in this book.
Yep.
And that's kind of unusual, right?
Yeah, no, I thought it was a great idea. And so, yeah, there's Mick Foley doing the wrestling one, Suzanne Alexander, who's in country music. And then it was really cool for me. I got to talk with John Gibbons, who you used to roommate. He was a roommate when you were in baseball, but he was, of course, the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays when, we just made the playoffs here in Toronto, but a couple of years ago when it looked like we had a potential World Series team, John Gibbons was the skipper. And it was great talking to him and helping him put together the forward. So
3 forwards in the book, and they're all kind of cool. And yeah, John Gibbons is he's a great guy and a funny guy, and I love what he said about. I'll read his last line for everybody just to see what kind of personality John has. Then he told me he was writing a book about his life. I was honest with him. I won't buy it, but good for you. Great closing line. And I'm going to be actually recording the audiobook for Audible and all the platforms out there beginning March 1st here in Nashville. And I was able to do my, read it myself, so no one else is going to read it. So I'll be in the studio for about 5 days, the first week of March, cutting it. And I got the release date on the audiobook too. It's going to be May 11th. That's when it's available for everyone.
That's assuming you nail your lines.
I'm going to nail my lines, my friend. I got to figure out how I'm going to use the voices. How do I imitate Uncle Fritzy from back in the day?
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? He's like one of them Italian guys. Nick Tardo, see you in April on Long Island. Thank you. It's going to be great. I can't wait. Bookshops are closed in the UK, so I guess that's a mail order for you. What is this? I heard Rick Allen, Toby Bleach is writing a book for Weight Watchers. Is this one of the Power Twins that's anonymous there right now?
You have some interesting friends.
Yes. Thank you, John. Can we send the book to you to sign? Maybe.
That's a good question. So one thing you can do, though, and maybe you invest in, is you buy some labels. They're called boilerplates when you use them in books. So you could sign them and then send them the autograph for them to put a sticker in their book. That's the more economical way to do it, but you can decide what to do.
Yeah, I'll take more guidance from you, Greg, any day of the week. An audiobook on a USB stick? I have no idea. I don't know. I appreciate all the comments here. Is there any blue language? TJ from Deer Park wants to know. Greg, how about if you answer that one? Is there any blue language in it?
There's a little bit, but it's not a dirty book. There's a few kind of more racy stories. There's a Jake the Snake story that's a little rude, but it's not a dirty book by any means. And it's funny because a lot of books get so sanitized. It's like Pat Patterson's book, for as great as it was, is not Pat Patterson because Pat Patterson, he used to swear every second word.
Yeah.
And so you can't do a book like that. So part of your job as a writer, and Bertrand Hébert did that with Patterson's book, is you have to be really selective in when you need the emphasis. Back when swearing used to mean something, right? When you used it for emphasis.
I've always had I've always had that Italian side in me, that New York and that blue language. So I mean, there are people that I, as my nephew would say, explode on in the book. So they'll be if TJ is looking for some blue language, there are some parts in the book where I go off on some people. So there's a lot of crazy stories in it. I mean, growing up in Brooklyn, moving to Long Island as a kid, my love and passion for the New York Mets, my childhood, it's just so much in there. And then getting to meet Freddie Blassie for the first time and starting that fan club, and then the way I got my first press pass at the Garden, that's another interesting story. There's a lot of interesting stuff, people that have never heard it before. And believe me, I mean, there were things in the book that I've never told anybody but you, Greg, and so that's going to be another revelation for some people, that there are things that I didn't even tell my own family that are in the book,
The other fascinating thing is, as I progress and listen to your podcast where you go through the old episodes, there's all kinds of stories you didn't remember when you were talking to me.
I know.
And that there are sort of sparked by your memory as you listen to the old episodes. So
yeah.
It's definitely complimentary for people to go listen to the Pro Wrestling Spotlight Then and Now podcast.
Yeah, and I think the other day there was a story that came up, and I was like, boy, that should have been in the book, But hey, it is what it is. I mean, you only have a certain amount of time. You can't write War and Peace, so it's a concise 200 and how many pages do we got here? 250 around there, close to it. But there's great stories. There's a lot of pictures. There's a nice color insert, 8-page color insert with a lot of pictures in there as well. But it's not just wrestling. It's country music. It's baseball. It's everything. Rib stories. Yeah, there's some rib stories in there. There are some. Yeah, a few. Let's see.
Well, I mean, come on, it's got the Power Twins in it, so there's a couple of rib stories.
Absolutely, Greg. Any Toronto stories in the book?
No, not really, because you never really came up here, so Toronto's not really a part of this story.
Right. But hey, listen, for everybody out there, I mean, how many you have? What, 16 books out now?
Yeah, you'll be number 17.
And tell everybody about some of the other wrestling books that they may be familiar or not be familiar with, and how people can get copies of some of your catalog.
Sure. Oliverbooks.ca tells all my books, obviously, but they're mostly available wherever you want to find them too. 2003 was my first one, the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, the Canadians. I always loved pro wrestling and Canada, so that was a nice marriage. ECW Press approached me, and then Steve Johnson got a copy of the book and loved it, and he's about 10 years older than me, so he became a bit of a mentor, and he helped me improve. So the tag team book is leagues better than the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, the Canadians, and then we did Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, the Heels, and then we did Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame Heroes and Icons, where we brought in Mike Mooneyham, who I had to slash a lot because he overwrites. Love you, Mike, but yes, he definitely overwrites. And then Steve and I had Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, The Storytellers, come out, which was a fascinating book and one of the best written wrestling books out there. And I'm not just tooting my own horn. That's the way I feel. It's very ambitious in what we do. We did a Slam Wrestling book, which is sort of an underappreciated gem where we took a lot of the features from the site and added some, codas or descriptions about how the stories came about. What am I forgetting? I must have forgotten one. The Benoit book. We did a book on Chris Benoit. It was the bestseller of the bunch, but it happened right away. So he killed his family and himself at the end of June. The manuscript was in by August, and it was out on shelves by late September, early October, which is insane.
Wow.
So there were 4 of us that worked on that. There was me and Steve Johnson, and there was Heath McCoy and Irv Muchnick. So we all worked together on it. And it also meant, though, because there's 4 of us, the royalties got split 4 ways. So we may have sold the most, but I don't think I made the most money on that one. It's been an interesting ride. And, another, 6 hockey books, 2 kids books. So, yeah, I've had a good ride.
Yeah, and there's more to come. I mean, obviously, you're always looking for intriguing projects and interesting stories. And so, I mean, you're still out there all the time. I mean, you're constantly working, on these
I
books.
guess so. But yeah, I mean, books come and go, right? There's things you think you might end up doing and you don't. Books get shelved for a time. I mentioned my Billy Van book. I mean, that took 12 years. You know, I really started on it a long time ago. And sort of you little dribs and drabs, or then you work on it hardcore for a bit, and then you put it aside to work on something else. You don't know where these stories go, but I'm a good master of information. That's the best way to put it. So that maybe if I need that story down the road, I've got bits and pieces that'll pay off.
You're very organized. I tell you that. You're very.
I don't know if my wife would say that, but okay.
Well, you know, compared to me, and you know, I'm not organized.
But you're a lot neater than I am, John. You're a bit of a neat freak. So I still remember when Bob Kapoor and I descended on your place last year, and it's like you were, oh my God, they left stuff out on the counter.
Yeah. I guess that's what do you call that? Is that an OCD thing?
It's a borderline of that. I don't think it's crippling for you, but for some people it is. Right? So again, things get
like everything in its place.
Yeah, everything in its place is not quite OCD, but it's on the path.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I would have organized my negatives and all of that stuff. Those shits in envelopes and in a big bags. So one of these days I'll try to do that and organize myself. I mean, but yeah, I have that in me, but what am I going to do? That's just part of life, isn't it?
Yep.
But I really appreciate your time today, and I really appreciate everybody joining for this last minute thing. Matt Memories coming out April the 6th. There'll be various ways for you to get it. And I do want to make a quick thank you, and I forgot. There was a gentleman who was so instrumental in getting me to Michael Holmes and making that formal introduction, and it was Tim Hornbaker. So Tim is the guy that made that introduction to Michael, and then I sent Michael an email, and before you know it, there was a book deal in place. He was good because he did the Russo books, and when he responded to the email, he was like, "What a coincidence! I was just watching you and Russo on YouTube, and that was fascinating stuff." So, but I want to thank him for sure. And I want to thank you, and I want to thank everybody that participated in this, and even Sarah Darling, who cooperated and just kind of verified some of the stories about her. And you'll read stories about country music legend Patty Loveless. You'll read stories about the girl who had another number one this week, Greg, Kelsea Ballerini, 6 number one records, and I found her in a pizza place and discovered her. That story's in the book.
But that's part of what these books are about too, right? It's like, through you, I get a couple of Kelsea Ballerini CDs. You listen. We went to the Opry and I fell in love with Runaway June.
Yeah.
And so, I have their CD, like Patty Loveless. I have a few of those now. Like, as long as people are reading all this with an open mind, I think they'll really enjoy it. I haven't found my, Panic CD yet, or some of these other ones yet, but
yeah. Wow. Carl and the Passion from Rock and Roll Days and New World and some of the others that I'm Radar. I managed quite a bit, but the ones that stand out, the ones that made it, Kelsea, Patty, Sarah Darling is big in the UK. If you're a country music fan, and Sarah, we did so many great things together here in the United States. So those stories are certainly in the book as well. And then the music business is tough. It's kind of like pro wrestling in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, it's not. So, I mean, Nashville is an interesting community. If you're in the music business, it's very incestuous. And so there are a little bit of tearing down the curtain in Nashville, the way I tore it down in country music. In pro wrestling, rather. So should be a fascinating read for people. I hope they're all going to enjoy it. And Greg, I'm going to say fond farewell to you, and I'm going to wrap it up here. I thank you for last minute coming on and seeing the unveiling of the advance copy at least. And we'll talk to you probably this week sometime.
Yeah, and let's do the unveiling when you get the box of books. So
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Then I'll do some virtual signings and sign them for people. All right. Take care, Greg. Good to talk.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
All right. Bye. All right, Greg Oliver, and here it is again, Matt Memories. If you want a signed and numbered copy of it, just send me an email, john@mattmemories.com, and I'm compiling those names right now. And then we're going to figure out a way to launch this thing, get these signed copies to you. And I may even do something special for the very first numbered one that I signed. So I'm going to figure out a way how somebody out there is going to get, number one, the first book that I'll sign of these things. But I want to thank everybody for your support, because I was gone for a long period of time. And coming back, no one knows how you're going to be accepted. And everyone embraced me who knew me back in the day. And now I have the live show on Saturdays. I got a book coming out. I got the podcast with Brian Lass, Pro Wrestling Spotlight Then and Now, which is hilarious. We've created some legends in George Lindenhurst and so many others. So it's been fun. And I'm having conversations with Sunny Beach, who's left me a very detailed voicemail rather, yesterday, because we're kind of talking, bantering an idea of a weekend of champions in Long Island after this pandemic is over. And he's already met with some people. And so wouldn't that be cool to do Weekend of Champions on Long Island after 30 years? So that would be fun. So I'll keep you all up to date on all of it. Different business definitely picked up, Brian, for sure. So I mean, good stuff is happening, and I really feel blessed to have everybody in my life. And I want to thank you again. And I'm going to wrap this up for now. And just send an email, john@mattmemories.com, and we'll figure out a way to get these signed copies to you. And that's all I can say. Thank you again. And we'll talk to you this Saturday right here with the Pro Wrestling Spotlight Live. Have a good week, everybody.